In this video, we're going to be covering the JJK anime and comparing it to its manga counterpart. We're going to be talking about all the differences, right? These are going to be things like every scene that was not adapted from the manga and the added scenes that they've added to the anime for a little bit of extra flavor. If you think we've missed anything majorly important or just more interesting, please let us know in the Discord below. There's loads of people, loads of talented people in there discussing anime every single day, and we'd love to have you. Anyway, let's get right into the video. So, for the start of this, we're going back to chapter 147, because that's where episode 5 of Jujutsu Kaisen starts. In the anime, we get this preamp, new shots, new graphics, souls spinning around, and a lone sink dripping, adding tone with every drop, none of which is in the manga. The manga cuts straight to sitting in his cell like this, which is different from the first visual we get in the anime. The anime, it's a head-on approach, and then we take the side-on approach. Essentially, in this first scene, they've added so much in the build-up as to not just have a panel of the old man talking for 20 seconds straight. They also used initial dialogue for the scene where he's sitting down with his cursed puppet to help do a J-cut and transition to the next scene, rather than cut to that panel immediately. When Yagi is introducing the cursed puppet to the mother and father, we start at a panel with Yagi standing still with the cursed puppet hiding behind him, which we can clearly see here. However, in the manga, we cut straight to the parents. Just in this case, they're the focus, right? However, the anime allowed us to linger on a thought longer with the connection between the cursed puppet and these two individuals. However, the angles they zoom in on the parents are different as well. There's more shots in connecting that this is her son for the mother, and the shot has far more detail. As I said in my previous videos, Gege loves to add this kind of grade filter effect on memories, so when a character is recalling something. But in the anime, they made it far more clearer. The kid is just in his bedroom playing with toys, and she's standing in the doorway from her perspective. So it makes the connection much easier. Also, in the anime, she crawls over, desperate to hold her child. However, in the anime, it shows her leaping forward, her chair being empty, and her embracing the cursed puppet. The anime's reveal for the principal is so much better than the manga's. The manga shows a silhouette and then a close-up. That's it. But this is a main character, and a main character's death, no less. So building up to it with this intimidation and honestly visuals that build up dread was really, really well done in the anime. And the guitar riffs again and again and again until they just stop, and all we can hear are bugs, a light, and the pain of a dying man. With all that being said, Oh! These are Tokyo Treat and Sakurako snack boxes. They deliver a little bit of Japan straight to your home every single month. And this month is Valentine's themed, so there's lots of strawberries and lovely treats in these boxes, so maybe consider getting one for your loved one. Or get it for yourself. No shame? Like me. But Tokyo Treat is the fun one. Japan exclusive treats, limited edition snacks, chips, noodles, shipped straight from Japan, and yes, we're doing strawberry shortcake Kit Kats right now. That's pretty good. And also, I really liked the Love You a Lottie chocolate bar, because I love myself a Lottie for eating this chocolate bar because it tastes really good. And Sakurako is next. It's super cozy, artisan Japanese sweets like mochi, dorayaki, zenbei, plus tea and special homeware items every single month. And this month's is vintage Komodo cloth pouch. My mom is brewing her new tea right now. Special tea every single month. Special tea. Each box comes with their own booklets, all with information of the treats you're eating. But Sakurako also has backgrounds on the people who make the treats, because they're artisan goods. And it's really good to flick through this and see the faces of the people who actively made the thing you're eating. But if you want to try the Valentine's boxes in particular, use my code Josephu for $5 off your first order. Or click the link in the description. Once again, I need to thank Tokyo Treat and Sakurako for sponsoring this video. The rest of the scene basically plays one-to-one with the anime. Apart from the shots of Panda running, they're different and adds a bit more of a dramatic angle to the scene, seeing if Panda can get there in time. However, I really think that the panel of Panda saying "even pandas cry" hits way harder in the manga than it does in the anime. And now we move forward to chapter 153. I'm moving linear for the rest of this episode. So this overlay obviously isn't in the manga, and I really don't like it. It really takes me out of it. They're trying to overlay 2 shots to deliver the exposition while also setting up the current scene that they're walking towards. And to be honest, they're animating 2 scenes here. I really don't like how they did this. It forces the watcher in a very brief period of time to not only absorb all the exposition, but also bring themselves into taking in the other scene, which is a lead up to the reveal of a fight club. Some added shots of scenery and the building while they're putting on the new suits. Everything else is basically 1-to-1. And I love the bounce of the guardrail. When the guy gets a call that he knows it's all okay and he points to Yuji and says, "You're the one who's going to be fighting," that's set up in 5 panels in the manga, but it's just like one continuous shot in the anime. This walking sequence is a anime original. Although there is visuals borrowed from the manga, this just isn't present in the manga whatsoever. And it, once again, makes the world feel more real than a close-up of a face, a tree, and then a signpost, which is what we get in the manga. Although I do miss this one informational graphic from the manga. Also, in the anime, the bodyguard has the fucking form of that one buff guy from Kill la Kill. Absolute goddamn Crash Bandicoot form on this man, and it isn't as prevalent in the manga. However, I will say the fact that they include the background and the fact that they're walking down the stairs in this scene adds so much to the shots. Like, obviously one is a manga and it's not necessary, and there's a lot more people working on an anime than there is the manga. But the Panda and Yuji fight is so much better in the anime than it is the manga. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. The delivery from Panda is absolutely cinema. You know, obviously you can tell he is bad acting in the manga, but it really comes through in the anime. And not only that, I honestly felt that the anime delivered the exposition in a much better way than the manga, mainly because they were able to animate things, so delivering things in real time while breaking it up with some form of emoticon or animation. It was really good for pacing and also to help make this scene feel more comedy focused, which there is a little bit of that in it, but also the tone is still quite serious, mainly because the comedy function comes from the fact that they have to put on a show. Because in the anime, there's a lot of fights and interactions and fake hits, but in the manga it's a few traded blows and then one clean hit and the fight's over. It's much quicker. The exposition is just dumped on your ass, but the anime manages to actually deliver you a fight scene with comedy and exposition masterfully. Also, not revealing Hikari's face here in this shot where they do in the manga. In the manga we see his full face here. We wait for his reveal until it's the first time Yuji meets him, adding to that aura, intimidation, and also just reveal. It's a little bit more build up for us to visually see him and get to see what he is like as a character while interacting with Yuji, at least. So basically only 2 big differences left. One of them is a small thing that is kind of weird that they don't have. See, we get a reveal that Megumi has more abilities up his sleeve. We see him come out of a shadow and take out a guard. And after, there's a whole sequence with him, Panda, and another unnamed character basically going head to head for quite some amount of time before we cut to the Yuji and Hikari scene, which, by the way, is then my favorite part of this episode. This Hikari scene is amazing to me. Now, manga purists aren't going to be adoring this, in all honesty, alright? Because it's not loyal to source material in any way, shape, or form. But that's not a bad thing. This scene in the manga is nothing special. It's the usual cut and dry, constant cuts with side views and a graphic to display information that is completely unnecessary in this scene. But the anime's approach is so remarkably different that it doesn't feel like it's an anime, at least not a usual one, because it's just one scene for almost 2.5 minutes. It's amazing. It feels like a live action scene. And instead of stiff characters that have minimal movement, the characters are both ruffling around, letting themselves feel uncomfortable within the situation. But my biggest compliment is that the scene reads like a real camera was set down to observe these 2 people, with those subtle micro movements, hesitations, posture shifts, doing so much of the heavy lifting instead of the usual hard cuts and impact frames. The scene has a foundation of anxiety that just keeps rising and rising. And it's because the shot refuses to give any relief via cuts or close-ups. It's all just as if you're standing in the room with them. And that anxiety that has been building climaxes. With Kieran's phone call, and as soon as the first buzz goes off, it repeats and repeats and repeats as if it's a metronome, cutting into the new silence that the scene has, because Hikaru is privy to information that Yuji is not. And obviously then, because of the new gained information Hikaru has of that phone only rings if there's something gone wrong, although we don't know it, he's sitting in that chair like Sergeant Dokes from Dexter. And then because of that, obviously the scene moves into action. And this was such a breath of fresh air because I'm not sure if it's just me, but this episode in particular felt like it had 101 more cuts than the average episode of Mappa's Jujutsu Kaisen. But what really helped to stand out was that rotoscoping references, right? It's a huge part of why it feels human, because there is a human moving. They're using for reference. All of this coming together to make that scene the most anxiety-driven scene of the season. But there was so much to like in this episode. There was clean and nice delivered exposition, fights, there was sadness and sorrow, and there was build-up and anxiety for something big next week. So I hope to see you then for another anime versus manga comparison. Thank you for watching.